I think the largest reason for why America is so flooded with unhealthy junk fast food is largely because of the environment. You have too much convenience, and a lot of it is the environment that you grow up with and the influence that school, family life, and a bunch of different other factors.
In the past decade, there's been our diets, there's been a lot more processed foods especially, and even kind of the almost cheaper foods that we have access to, like the chains and stuff. Unfortunately, they don't really offer nutritiously balanced meals, and that leads to kind of a rapid spike in lipid levels in our body. And now, within kind of recently in the past few years, it's been found that these lipid levels are very closely related to the progression of type 2 diabetes.
Your nutrition is the foundation for your well-being. It's just that simple. We have all become so busy that we run and we grab food that is not nutritious for us. It's not helping our bodies develop, our minds develop. And a lot of times there's mounting evidence that the more processed foods, the more sugars, etc., that you put in your body, not only does that negatively affect your health with the rise in diabetes and obesity, but your behavior as well. So for me, we as a nation really need to look at starting over with our kids to help them understand the connection between wholesome food, what is wholesome food, and why that's so critical in their well-being, not just today, but tomorrow and in the future.
One of the things that we saw in the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s is we saw kitchens going from cooking kitchens in schools. We saw them going to more packaged meals. And the packaged meals led us away from cooking kitchens. And that often meant that foods were being shipped in, frozen foods. They were coming from all over the place. They were not coming locally. And it contributed an enormous amount of waste to our community.
If schools continue and to be part of the problem providing those heat up lunches, I mean, students are fed, but it's not really what we should be putting into our bodies, supposedly at an institution that represents molding students into the best possible selves they can be academically, athletically, physically, and all of that. So I think part of the solution to the problem is definitely starting with schools and building off of that.
Historically, school cafeterias have been dominated by processed foods, primarily because of governmental food subsidies and budget constraints. School meals based on mass-produced foods contribute to poor nutrition, which affects students' ability to feel and learn well. Is there an alternative to the prevailing unhealthy school cafeteria model? In the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Gatos High School has developed innovative food service practices that positively contribute to students' health and well-being.
It was in my freshman year that we changed the people who cook at the kitchen, and I loved seeing that they're now using whole foods and things, not just processed stuff. I think it's really important for people to be to have access to those types of foods where maybe they won't have access to that at home. So I think there's been a lot of changes and are making really positive strides.
When I went to the cafeteria as a freshman, I noticed there were a lot of changes that were happening, with regards to the containers the food were in and the quality of the food. And coming back now in sophomore and junior year, I've really seen an improvement, and I love that we've really taken initiative and I guess paid attention to the nutrition of the kids, because that's a very important part of their development as teenagers and young adults. Eating and fueling your body is very important.
Well, one of the things I would say that is wonderful about what's happening at Los Gatos High School is the food service shift that has been implemented for 3 years now. There used to be that students would never stay on campus to eat, and now they're rushing to get in line to get their snacks, and they're staying on campus to have lunch, and they're talking about how good the food is.